Hey guys, Robert here. So today we're going to be looking at a standard deck. So I figure for this one, we're going to go ahead and start with the things that make the deck work and then build up into what the deck's actually supposed to be doing. So we're going to start this off with 4 ops. 1 mana, scry 1, draw a card. Help us set up our draws, smooth out our draws. Hopefully get things out of the way that we don't need. And a little bit of card advantage. Well, not really card advantage because it's 1 for 1, but it is card filtering, and that's relevant in any game of Magic. 2 Pirate's Pillage. 4 mana. As an additional cost, cast it, discard a card. Draw 2 cards, create 2 colorless treasure artifact tokens that have tap, sack this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So the discarding a card seems like a big backdraw, but there are ways in this deck that cost really isn't that big of a cost. And the 2 treasure tokens are pretty important to this deck, and this is our best way of getting them. Playing 4 lightning strikes, 2 mana, 3 damage to a creature or player, removal spell of choice here. 2 supreme wills, 3 mana, counter spell unless the controller pays 3. Or look at the top 4, put 1 into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. 2 Censor, 2 mana, counterspell unless the controller pays 1, and it cycles for a blue. And we are playing 3 copies of Mox Amber. 0 mana artifact, has tap, add 1 mana of any color among legendary creatures or planeswalkers you control, so red and blue. Because that is what we are. So the first thing we're going to do with this deck is we are playing 2 Brawl Chief of Compliance. The main thing we're focusing on with him is instants or sorceries you cast cost 1 less cast. As you've seen, we don't have that many counter spells, but we do have quite a few instants and sorceries nonetheless. So what he does is turn your Supreme Will into a mana leak. Turns it into an impulse, turn your lightning strikes into lightning bolts, turn your pirate pillage into a 3 mana. So kind of like flashback on Faithless Looting, except a little bit better. So yeah, there's Brawl. After sideboard, we get more counter spells, so we can make more use of his looting later on. Second thing we're wanting to do with this deck is we have 4 copies of Tetsuko in here. Makes creatures with power or toughness 1 or less unblockable, essentially. And he's a 1/3 himself, so he makes himself unblockable. What we're wanting to make unblockable with him, Wildfire Eternal. We're playing 4 of him. 4 mana for a 1/4, so unblockable. Has Afflict 4, which most of the time isn't going to be relevant. However, it's whenever this creature becomes blocked, defending player loses 4 life. What we're interested in is making him unblockable so that whenever he attacks and isn't blocked, we can cast an instant or sorcery from our hand without paying its mana cost. What are we wanting to cast without paying its mana cost, do you ask? Karn's Temporal Sundering, which we are playing 4 of. 6 mana. Take an next turn after this one. Return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, then exile it. You can only cast it if you control a legendary creature or planeswalker. In which, if we've got this little combo assembled, Tetsuko is a legendary. Brawl is a legendary. And there is a few more legendaries. Altogether, we're running 10 legendaries. And we're running the playset of these. And I guess I'll go ahead and bring this next one out. 1 Jai's Immolating Inferno. So altogether we have 5 legendary sorceries and 10 legendary creatures and or planeswalkers. Jai is Immolating Inferno, X and 2 blue. Deal X damage to each of up to 3 targets. With the mana from our Mox and with the treasure tokens, we could easily make this really nasty really quick. And we also have Granny Yanny in here, which we'll look at here in a minute, but she increases mana too, so we can pump a whole lot of mana into this pretty quick and deal a whole lot of damage. and that's the goal. Another combo we are running is Fight with Fire. 3 mana, 5 damage to a creature. So early game, if we've got Brawl out, it's 2 mana, 5 damage to a creature. But regardless, 3 mana, 5 to a creature. Early game, this deals with big things like Lyra, anything else, toughness 5 or less that we, well, 4 or 5 specifically, because Lightning Strike will get rid of everything else. But 4 or 5, this is going to get rid of. And if we can kick it, it's 10 damage to face, or 10 damage to any target divided as we choose. More than likely going to face. Why is it more than likely going to face? Because we are playing it with 2 copies of Mirari's Conjecture. 5 mana, comes in, first lore counter. Return target instant or sorcery, or return target instant card from your graveyard to your hand. When it gets a second counter, return a sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. On the third counter, every instant and sorcery we cast for the rest of that turn is twin casted. So, if we play this and we kick it, it's twin casted. That's 20 damage divided as we choose. Is it a coincidence that people start the game with 20 life? I don't think so. So, yeah, there's that. Jai's Immolating Inferno, if we can cast that off the twin cast. If we X Infinity, it's getting copied. If we can get that, attack with an Eternal, cast a Karn's Temporal Sundering off of him, or just hard cast it, that's 2 extra turns. So, yeah, the Mirari's Conjecture is pretty nasty. So, finishing out the deck, we are running 1 copy of Karn, Sign of Urza. +1, reveal the top 2 cards of your library. An opponent chooses one of them, put that card in your hand, and exile the other with a silver counter on it. -1, put a card you own with a silver counter on it from exile into your hand. -2, create a 0/0 colorless artifact construct token. Whew! This creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Play testing. I don't think that myself or Red, we both play tested this deck. I don't think that either one of us ever -2 to get tokens. Most of the time it was just +1, -1 for the card advantage, and it works beautifully. The games where he came down, he stayed down, and he was a large factor in the winning of the game. And we are running 3 copies of Granny Yanny Jaya Ballard. 5 mana, +1, get 3 reds. Spend it only cast instant or sorceries. +1, discard up to 3 cards, then draw that many cards. -8, you get an emblem with. You can cast instant and sorceries from your graveyard. If a card cast this way, be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Yeah. This is a pretty heavy instant and sorcery deck, so she benefits it very, very well. So some neat little synergies with her emblem, if you can get her to emblem. You can +1 discard cards like Karn's Temporal Sundering, Jai's Immolating Inferno, use your Mirari Conjecture to get them back, and if you don't use your Mirari Conjecture to get them back, you can just get the 3rd counter, emblem her, cast these from the graveyard, copy them, because you've used her to discard them, so they can actually be in your graveyard. I mean, she just does wonders for this deck, and I am excited to be playing with this card specifically. Another red Planeswalker. I thought I was only going to have a million different Chandras and the 1 copy of Koth forever. And don't even get me started on Tibalt, which that's a long story, but hopefully we'll have a modern Tibalt deck coming for you before too long. But anyways, that's the deck. Let's look at the mana base, then we'll get the sideboard and call this one a day. Running 1 Memorial of Genius, pay 5, Sagat, draw 2 cards, card advantage. 3 Spire Bluff Canal. 4 Sulphur Falls. 7 Basic Mountain. And 5 Basic Islands. And into the sideboard. So there's a few cards I don't have that I'd want. So there's like the, I think it's 7 mana, 4 and 3 blue from the Ixalan blocks. I think it's actually from Ixalan itself. Target player draws 7 cards. I'd like to have that in here just to have for this, but in the sideboard, of course. So for now, this is what our sideboard looks like. Kefnet's Last Word. Gain control of target artifact, creature, or enchantment. Lands you control, don't untap during your next turn. Yeah. I'll take your Hazoret. I'll take your Scarab God. Yeah, that's all me, bro. 1 Silent Gravestone, 1 mana. Cards in graveyards can't be targets of spells or abilities. Pay 4. Exile this. Exile all cards from all graveyards. Draw a card. 1 Direfleet Daredevil. Just because it's nice to have a Snapcaster Mage. 2 Admiral's Orders. If it's on a game where we are relying on our attacking and our opponent is just Removal City, it turns into 1 mana counter spell. 1 Chandra's Defeat, because we need to be able to deal with Chandra. 3 Spell Pierce. Counter target non-creature spell unless the controller pays 2 for 1 mana. 1 Hour of Devastation, 5 mana. All creatures lose indestructible until end of turn. Deals 5 damage to each creature and each non-Bolas planeswalker. 1 Combat Celebrant. Just to combo off with him. Yeah. I just thought it was nice. I like that little synergy right there. Extra combats because he's unblockable. 2 copies of a Braid, 3 damage to a creature or destroy target artifact. So some more removal if we need it. And for those annoying creature token decks, 2 copies of Crafty Cut Purse, 4 mana, flash, 2/2. Enters the battlefield. Each token that will be created under an opponent's control this turn is created under your control instead. And hopefully they're 1/1s, because if they're 1/1s, then we can just straight up win off combat damage. Yeah, I think, now looking at it, I think for that kind of matchup, a token matchup, Crafty Cut Purse, Combat Celebrant, yeah, probably even Direfleet Daredevil, because them nasty little Saproling decks are running around. Yeah, so Crafty Cut Purse, their Saprolings, get extra combat steps with their Saprolings, Direfleet Daredevil to cast their little Saproling migration, and call it a day. So guys, that was my Granny Yanny deck. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will talk to you next time.